Jake Morrison opened his eyes slowly. Everything hurt. His head felt like someone had hit it with a hammer. The last thing he remembered was his ship exploding around him. The Kethvar attack had come from nowhere. One moment he was checking star charts. The next moment his exploration ship was breaking apart. He tried to sit up but felt dizzy. The room around him looked strange. The walls seemed to glow with a soft blue light. Everything was smooth and curved, not like the metal corridors of human ships. Where was he? Easy, human. You are safe now. The voice was gentle, but came from someone he had never seen before. Jake turned his head and saw a tall figure standing next to his bed. The being looked almost human, but its skin seemed to be made of crystal. The crystal skin changed colors as it moved, shifting from blue to green to purple. "Who are you?" Jake asked. His voice was rough and dry. "I am Dr. Lyra Velneth. You are on my ship, the Harmony's Call. We found you floating in space 3 months ago. Your escape pod was badly damaged. We thought you were dead at first." Jake tried to remember. The attack happened so fast. His ship, the Starbound, was destroyed. He made it to an escape pod just as the ship exploded. After that, everything was dark. 3 months, Jake said. "I was unconscious for 3 months. Your injuries were severe. We had to put you in a healing sleep while your body recovered. You are lucky to be alive." Dr. Lyra moved closer. Her crystal skin was now a warm golden color. "We know very little about human biology. We had to learn as we went along." Jake looked around the room again. "What are you? I mean, what species?" "We are Zephyrians. We come from a world called Zephyr Prime. Or we did, before the Kethvar destroyed it." Her skin darkened to a deep red color when she mentioned the Kethvar. "The Kethvar destroyed your planet?" Jake felt a chill run down his spine. The same aliens who destroyed his ship had destroyed an entire world. 6 months ago, they came without warning. They wanted our technology and our people as slaves. When we refused to surrender, they used their planet killer weapon on our homeworld. Only a few thousand of us escaped. Jake felt sick. How many died? Billions. Lyra's skin turned almost black. "We are all that remains of our people. A few refugee ships hiding in dark space, afraid to use our communications in case they find us." "Then why did you save me? Why risk exposing yourselves?" Lyra's skin shifted to a soft blue. "Because all life is precious. We could not leave you to die in space, even if it meant danger for us. It is who we are." Jake was quiet for a moment. These aliens had risked their own lives to save him. A human they had never met before. He felt ashamed that his first thought was about the risk to themselves. "Thank you," he said finally. "I owe you my life." "You owe us nothing. We did what was right." Lyra moved to a control panel that seemed to grow out of the wall. "Are you strong enough to walk? Our captain would like to meet you." Jake swung his legs over the side of the bed. He felt weak, but he could stand. Lyra led him through corridors that curved and flowed like water. Other Zephyrians stopped to look at him as they passed. Their crystal skin showed many different colors. Some looked curious. Others seemed afraid. "They have never seen a human before," Lyra explained. "We knew your species existed, but our laws forbid contact with developing civilizations." "Developing? We have faster than light travel. We have colonies on dozens of worlds. Yes, but you are still young as a spacefaring species. The Galactic Council has rules about when contact can be made. We broke those rules to save you. They entered a large room with windows that showed the stars outside. A young Zephyrian stood looking out at space. His crystal skin was mostly silver, with streaks of blue. "Captain Cale Morden," Lyra said. "This is Jake Morrison." The captain turned around. Jake could see sadness in his alien features. "Welcome aboard, Jake Morrison. I am sorry we could not save your ship or your crew." "How do you know about my crew?" "We found the debris of your ship. We searched for other survivors but found none. I am sorry for your loss." Jake felt the weight of grief hit him again. His crew of 12 had been good people. Explorers like himself, excited to see new worlds. Now they were all dead. "The HFY killed them," Jake said. "Just like they killed your people?" "Yes. They are spreading across the galaxy like a disease. They take what they want and destroy what they cannot use." Captain Cale's skin darkened. "Many species have fallen to them. Soon there may be no one left to resist." "What about the Galactic Council? Can't they stop the HFY?" Lyra and Cale looked at each other. Their skin colors shifted to what Jake was learning meant sadness or fear. "The Council is weak," Cale said. "They talk and debate while worlds burn. Some Council members are already under HFY control. Others are too afraid to act." Jake felt anger building inside him. "So you're just going to hide out here forever? Let them win?" "What choice do we have?" Kyle asked. "We are scientists and artists, not warriors. Our weapons are tools for building, not destroying. We never learned to fight because we never needed to." "Then you need allies. You need someone who knows how to fight." "Like humans?" Lyra asked. Jake thought about Earth's history. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They knew about strategy and tactics. They had built weapons and armies. Maybe they were exactly what the Zephyrians needed. "Yes, like humans. But first, I need to contact my people. They need to know about the HFY threat. They need to know what happened to the Starbound." "That is dangerous," Kyle said. "If the HFY detect our communications, they will find us." "Then we'd better make it count," Jake said. "Because if we don't warn Earth, the HFY will find them anyway, and humans won't surrender any more than you did." Kyle looked at Lyra. She nodded slowly. "Very well, Jake Morrison. We will help you contact your people, but know that this choice may doom us all." "Or it might save us all," Jake replied. As the three of them stood looking out at the stars, Jake made a silent promise to his dead crew and to these crystal-skinned aliens who had saved his life. The HFY would pay for what they had done. And maybe, just maybe, two very different species could find a way to stop them together. The communication room on the Harmony's call looked like the inside of a giant crystal. Curved walls pulsed with soft light while strange symbols flowed across transparent screens. Jake had never seen technology like this before. "Your quantum communication devices are very different from ours," Dr. Lyra said as she worked at a control panel. "We had to build a special transmitter to reach Earth." "How long will the message take to get there?" Jake asked. "Instantly," Captain Cale replied. "Quantum communication happens faster than light. Time and distance do not matter, but the message will only last a few seconds before the HFY detect it." Jake nodded. He had been working on his message for days. It had to be short, but complete. Earth needed to know about the HFY threat and about the Zephyrians. Most importantly, they needed to know that Jake was alive. "Ready?" Lyra announced. The crystal walls began to glow brighter. Jake stepped up to the transmitter. Admiral Lisa Grant, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Starbound. I am alive and safe aboard an alien vessel. The ship was destroyed by an aggressive species called the HFY. They are expanding across the galaxy, destroying entire civilizations. I am with refugees from a peaceful species called Zephyrians. Their planet was destroyed 6 months ago. The HFY are coming and Earth needs to prepare. Send help if you can. Morrison out. The light faded. It was done. Now we wait, Kyle said, and hope the HFY did not trace that signal. While they waited for a response, Jake learned more about Zephyrian culture. They showed him their art, which was created by manipulating light and sound together. They shared their food, which grew from crystal gardens that fed on starlight. Most amazing of all, they showed him their healing abilities. When Jake cut his hand on a sharp edge, Lyra simply placed her crystal fingers over the wound. Her skin glowed with warm light and the cut healed completely in seconds. "How do you do that?" Jake asked, staring at his hand. "We manipulate energy at the molecular level. We can repair damage to both living tissue and mechanical systems. It is how we kept you alive during your healing sleep." Jake was amazed. This technology could save millions of lives on Earth. "If your people prove worthy of it," said an older Zephyrian who had just entered the room. Her crystal skin was pure, white with veins of silver. "I am Elder Zara Velthani. I speak for the Council of Survivors." Jake stood up quickly. He could tell this was someone important. "Elder, I mean no disrespect, but my people are dying. The HFY will find Earth eventually. When they do, we need every advantage we can get. Many species have asked for our help over the centuries. Most wanted our technology for war. They promised peace but brought only more violence." Before Jake could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Captain Kale rushed to a viewing screen that showed space around them. "HFY patrol ship," he said grimly. "They found us." Jake looked at the screen and saw a massive black vessel approaching. It looked like a giant sword floating in space. Weapons ports along its hull were already glowing with deadly energy. "Can we run?" Jake asked. "Our engines are not as fast as theirs," Kale replied. "They will catch us before we can jump to light speed." The HFY ship was close enough now that Jake could see details on its hull. Black metal covered in spikes and weapon systems. It looked like it was built for only one purpose: destroying other ships. "Zephyrian vessel," a harsh voice came over the communications system. "Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." "Like the deaths you gave to our families on Zephyr Prime?" Kale replied. "Your families died because you refused to serve the Empire. You could have lived as slaves. Instead, you chose to die as fools." Jake felt anger burning in his chest. These HFY were not just killers. They enjoyed causing pain. Captain Lyra called from her station. "I'm detecting weapon systems charging. They're preparing to fire." "All crew to escape pods," Kale ordered. "Prepare to abandon ship." "Wait," Jake said. "Do you have any weapons at all?" "We have mining lasers and construction tools. Nothing that could hurt a HFY warship." Jake thought quickly. "What about your phasing technology? Can you make parts of the ship invisible to their sensors?" "Yes, but what good would that do?" "Here's what we're going to do." Jake moved to the control station. "Phase the entire rear section of the ship. Make it look like you've been damaged and are venting atmosphere. When they move in to finish us off, drop the phase field and ram them with everything you've got." Kale stared at him. "That will destroy our ship too." Better than letting them hunt down more of your people. Jake looked around the room. Sometimes you have to fight back, even if it costs everything. Elder Zara was watching Jake carefully. Her crystal skin was shifting through many colors. Do it, she said finally. Captain Kale, follow the human's plan. The next few minutes felt like hours. The Harmony's call used its phasing technology to make part of the ship appear destroyed. The Kethvar ship moved closer, probably planning to board them and take prisoners for questioning. Now! Jake shouted. The phase field dropped, and the Zephyrian ship suddenly appeared to be whole again. Captain Kale pushed the engines to maximum power, and the Harmony's call shot forward like a bullet. The Kethvar ship tried to turn away, but it was too late. The Zephyrian vessel struck it right in the middle, tearing a huge hole in its hull. Both ships spun away from each other, badly damaged. Their engines are dead, Lyra reported, but so are ours. At least they can't follow us now, Jake said. Captain Kale was already giving orders to repair teams. The Zephyrians worked with amazing speed, using their energy manipulation abilities to weld metal and restore systems. That was cleverly done, Jake Morrison, Elder Zara said. You think like a warrior, but you fight to protect others, not to conquer them. Perhaps humans are different from the other species we have met. Before Jake could reply, the communication system activated. A strong voice filled the room. This is Admiral Lisa Grant of Earth Defense Command. Jake Morrison, if you can hear this, the entire human fleet is mobilizing. We're coming to get you and every Zephyrian who needs help. Hold on. Earth is coming. Jake felt tears in his eyes. Admiral Grant had been his commanding officer for 10 years. She was like a mother to all the exploration crews, and now she was coming with the entire fleet. Did she say the entire fleet? Captain Kale asked. Yes, Jake said, wiping his eyes. When humans make a promise, we keep it. You saved one of us, so we're coming to save all of you. Elder Zara's crystal skin was now glowing with warm golden light. Your species continues to surprise me, Jake Morrison. The Galactic Council said humans were too violent to join civilized society, but perhaps they were wrong about what civilization truly means. Jake looked at the damaged Kethvar ship floating nearby. It means helping people who can't help themselves. It means standing up to bullies even when you're afraid. And it means never giving up on doing what's right. The communication system crackled again. This time, it was Admiral Grant's voice giving coordinates and telling them where to meet the human fleet. Well, Captain Kale said, with what Jake was learning was a Zephyrian smile. It seems we are about to make history. The first official meeting between humans and Zephyrians. No, Jake said, looking around at the aliens who had saved his life. We're about to make something better than history. We're about to make family. Admiral Lisa Grant stood in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, watching the largest military buildup in human history. Through the massive windows, she could see construction yards working around the clock. Sparks flew as workers welded new armor plates onto warships. The sky was filled with the trails of ships launching into space. Status report, she said to her aide, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez. 512 combat vessels ready for deployment, Admiral. Another 200 in final construction phases. President Chris Taylor has authorized the activation of all reserve fleets and the emergency construction protocols. Lisa nodded. When Jake Morrison's message had reached Earth 3 weeks ago, everything changed. The president had called an emergency session of Congress. Within hours, they had declared a state of war against the Kethvar Empire and authorized unlimited resources for military buildup. What about the civilian population? How are they handling the news? Better than expected, Admiral. When people learned that aliens had saved one of our own and that we were going to rescue an entire species in return, support has been overwhelming. Volunteers are flooding recruitment centers. Lisa smiled. Humans had always been at their best when protecting others. The idea that peaceful aliens needed their help had united Earth like nothing before. Dr. Alex Parker entered the command center, carrying a data pad. As Earth's leading expert on space biology, he had been working non-stop since Jake's message arrived. Admiral, we've been analyzing the data Captain Morrison sent about Zephyrian biology. Their requirements are actually quite compatible with Earth's environment. We can house their entire population without major problems. How many are we talking? About? Based on the ship signatures we've detected, roughly 50,000 survivors scattered across 12 refugee fleets. We've already prepared housing complexes in Australia, Canada, and Brazil. The Zephyrians will have everything they need. General Nick Sullivan joined them at the main planning table. His weathered face showed the strain of organizing the largest rescue mission in human history. The logistics are incredible, he said. We're not just fighting a war, we're relocating an entire civilization. We need transport ships, medical facilities, food supplies, translators, and housing for 50,000 aliens we've never met before. Any word from the other governments? Lisa asked. Full cooperation from everyone. The European Union is providing medical ships. The Asian Alliance is sending supply vessels. Even the Mars colonies are contributing their entire defense fleet. Nobody wants to sit this one out. Amy Rodriguez was monitoring the communication station. Admiral, we're receiving. Another transmission from Captain Morrison. Put it through. Jake's voice filled the command center. Admiral Grant, this is Morrison reporting. I'm now aboard the Zephyrian command ship Last Hope with their leadership council. The Kethvar are hunting the refugee fleet systematically. We've lost contact with 3 ships in the past week. I'm sending you the locations of all known survivor groups, but some are in very dangerous areas. Lisa studied the star charts as Jake's data came through. Several Zephyrian fleets were hiding in systems controlled by the Kethvar Empire. Getting them out would require military action. Jake, she said into the transmitter. We're mobilizing. Everything we have. 500 warships and twice as many support vessels. We'll get your friends out of there. Admiral, there's something else you need to know. The Zephyrians have technology far beyond ours. Their healing abilities, energy, manipulation, and phasing systems could change everything for humanity. But they're also the most peaceful people I've ever met. They've never fought a war in their entire history. Dr. Parker leaned forward. Captain Morrison, are they willing to share their technology? They've already started, Doctor. I'm transmitting technical specifications for their medical systems. Elder Zara says that if we help save their people, they'll help us defend against the Kethvar. Lisa felt a chill. Jake, exactly how dangerous are these Kethvar? They have weapons that can destroy planets, Admiral. Their ships are bigger and stronger than anything we have. The only reason we have a chance is because they don't expect us to fight back. Most species either surrender or get wiped out quickly. Well, they're about to learn something about humans, General Sullivan said grimly. Amy Rodriguez was tracking fleet movements on her display. Admiral, Strike Group Alpha is ready to launch. Captain Pete Johnson is requesting permission to begin rescue operations. Lisa looked at the massive holographic display showing human fleet positions. Ships were spread across local space, preparing to jump to distant star systems. Each group had a specific mission: rescue Zephyrian refugees and bring them safely to Earth. Tell Captain Johnson he is cleared for launch. Begin Operation Homecoming. As the first wave of human ships disappeared into hyperspace, Lisa thought about what they were attempting. Never before had one species risked everything to save another species they had barely met. But that was what made humans different. They didn't abandon people who needed help. "Admiral," Dr. Parker said, "I've been thinking about Captain Morrison's report on Kethvar tactics. They use overwhelming force to crush resistance quickly. They're not prepared for an enemy that fights back strategically." "What do you mean?" "Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We understand tactics, sacrifice, and teamwork. The Kethvar have probably never faced an enemy that was willing to die to protect others. That could be our advantage." General Sullivan nodded. "The captain is right. Most species either surrender immediately or fight alone, but humans work together. We share information, coordinate attacks, and support each other. That's how we win." A new transmission came in from space. This time it was Captain Pete Johnson, of Strike Group Alpha. "Admiral Grant, this is Johnson reporting from the Vega system. We've successfully rescued 3,000 Zephyrian refugees from asteroid hideouts. The aliens are incredible, Admiral. They're helping repair our ships with some kind of energy healing. Our wounded crew members are being treated with medical technology we don't understand. These people are amazing." Lisa smiled. "Any sign of Kethvar forces?" "Negative, Admiral. But the Zephyrians say enemy patrols have been increasing. They're definitely hunting the refugee fleets." "Get those people to safety, Captain." "How long until you reach Earth?" 72 hours, Admiral. We're escorting their ships in the center of our formation. Nothing is getting through to hurt these people." As more reports came in from rescue missions across the galaxy, Lisa began to understand the scope of what they were doing. Human ships were scattered across dozens of star systems, racing against time to find Zephyrian survivors before the Kethvar could destroy them. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez had been coordinating with refugee fleets. "Admiral, I've been talking to the Zephyrian ship captains. They can't believe what we're doing for them. One of them told me that in galactic history, no species has ever helped another without expecting something in return." "What did you tell them?" "I told them that humans help people because it's the right thing to do. They seemed confused by that concept." Lisa looked out at the busy construction yards again. In 3 weeks, Earth had transformed from a peaceful world into a military powerhouse. Factories that once made farming equipment now produced weapons. Scientists who studied star formation were now developing battle tactics. Ordinary people had volunteered to house alien refugees in their own homes. "Maybe that's what the galaxy needs," she said finally. "Someone who fights for others instead of just for themselves." General Sullivan checked his tactical display. "Admiral, we're getting reports of Kethvar fleet movements. They're mobilizing a large force. Intelligence suggests they're planning to attack Earth directly." Lisa felt her jaw tighten. "Let them come. By the time they get here, we'll have 50,000 new allies and the most advanced technology in the galaxy. The Kethvar have been bullying peaceful species for too long. It's time they met someone who hits back." The human diplomatic ship Peacekeeper drifted slowly toward the massive Zephyrian vessel Last Hope. Captain Kate Harrison watched through the bridge windows as the alien ship grew larger. It looked like a living crystal that had been shaped into a spaceship. Light flowed across its surface in beautiful patterns. "First time seeing one up close?" asked Ambassador Roy Davis as he joined her at the window. "Yes, sir. Captain Morrison's descriptions didn't do it justice. It's beautiful." "Let's hope this meeting goes well. We're about to make the most important first contact in human history." Behind them, Dr. Linda Moore was running final checks on the translation equipment. As Earth's best language expert, She had been studying Zephyrian communications for weeks. "Translation systems are working perfectly," she reported. "The Zephyrian language is actually quite musical. They use tone and harmony to express emotion." Professor Tom Wright, the team's cultural specialist, was reviewing his notes one more time. "Remember, Zephyrians show emotion through their skin, color. Bright colors usually mean happiness or excitement. Dark colors indicate sadness or fear. If their skin turns black, we've seriously offended them." Ambassador Davis nodded. He had been chosen for this mission because of his skill at making peace between enemies. Now he needed to make friends with complete strangers. "Attention, Peacekeeper," came a gentle voice over the communication system. "This is Elder Zara Velthani of the Last Hope. You are welcome to dock with our ship." "Thank you, Elder. We are honored by this meeting." As the Peacekeeper connected to the Zephyrian ship, Captain Harrison felt the historic weight of the moment. This was the first official meeting between two space-traveling species in human history. The airlock opened and Ambassador Davis led his team into the alien vessel. Jake Morrison was waiting for them, along with 3 Zephyrians. Jake looked healthy and alert, but his expression was serious. "Ambassador Davis, thank you for coming. This is Elder Zara Velthani, leader of the Zephyrian Council of Survivors, Dr. Lyra Velneth, their chief medical officer, and Captain Cale Morden of the Last Hope." The Zephyrians were tall and graceful, with crystal skin that shifted through soft blue and green colors. Elder Zara stepped forward and spoke in her musical language. The translation device converted her words to English. "Welcome, humans. Your arrival brings hope to our people. We have watched your species from afar for many years, but never dreamed you would come to our aid." Ambassador Davis had practiced his response carefully. "Elder Zara, the human race is honored to meet you. We believe all intelligent life has value. When we learned of your situation, we could not stand by and do nothing." The Elder's skin brightened to a warm golden color. "Your words bring comfort, but I must warn you, helping us will put your species in great danger. The Kethavar Empire will not ignore your interference. We understand the risks, but humans have a saying, 'Evil wins when good people do nothing.' We cannot let the Kethavar destroy your people." Dr. Lyra moved closer. Her skin was shifting through many colors as she studied the humans. "Captain Morrison has told us much about your species. You seem to value courage and sacrifice above personal safety." Professor Wright stepped forward. "In human culture, protecting those who cannot protect themselves is considered the highest honor. We measure our worth not by what we gain, but by whom we help." The Zephyrians looked at each other, their skin colors shifting in what seemed like rapid conversation. "This is unusual," Elder Zara said finally. "Most species we have encountered think first of their own survival, yet you risk everything to help strangers." "You're not strangers anymore," Jake said. "You saved my life. That makes you family." Captain Cale's skin brightened. "Captain Morrison has taught us much about human friendship. It is a concept we find inspiring." Ambassador Davis was about to respond when alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Captain Cale rushed to a nearby control panel. "Kethavar scouts," he announced. 3 ships approaching fast." "How did they find us?" Dr. Lyra asked. "Probably detected our communication signals," Jake said grimly. "We need to move now." Through the ship's windows, they could see 3 black vessels approaching. They were smaller than the massive Kethavar warship Jake had encountered before, but they still looked deadly. "Elder Zara," Ambassador Davis said quickly, "we need to get you and your people to safety. Our ship has better weapons and armor." No, the elder replied. The last hope carries 30,000 of our people. We cannot abandon them. Captain Harrison's voice came over the communication system. Ambassador, those Kethvar ships are charging weapons. We need to act fast. Can your ship fight? Ambassador Davis asked Captain Kale. We have some defensive systems, but we are not warriors. The Kethvar scouts could destroy us easily. Jake was already moving toward the airlock. Ambassador, get back to the Peacekeeper. I'm staying here to help coordinate the defense. Captain Morrison, my orders are to bring you home safely. My place is here with my friends. The first Kethvar ship opened fire. Energy beams struck the Last Hope's shields, causing the entire ship to shake. The crystal walls dimmed as power was diverted to defense systems. Their shields won't hold long, Captain Harrison reported. Permission to engage the enemy? Ambassador Davis made a quick decision. Granted. Protect the Zephyrian ship at all costs. The Peacekeeper was not a warship, but it had been equipped with the best weapons Earth could provide. Its missile systems locked onto the nearest Kethvar scout and fired. The human missiles struck the alien ship's hull, causing explosions along its side. The Kethvar vessel rolled away, damaged but still fighting. Good hit, Jake called out, but they're regrouping for another attack. Elder Zara was working at a control station, her crystal fingers moving rapidly. I am sending a distress signal to the other refugee fleets. If we die here, they must know to avoid this area. Nobody's dying today, Ambassador Davis said firmly. Captain Harrison, use everything we've got. The battle was brief but fierce. The Peacekeeper used its superior speed and maneuverability to dodge Kethvar weapons while protecting the larger Zephyrian ship. The Last Hope's crew worked frantically to repair their shields and weapon systems. In the end, it was Zephyrian technology that won the fight. Dr. Lyra managed to use their energy manipulation systems to overload one scout ship's power core, causing it to explode. The other two ships retreated when they realized they were outmatched. Damage report, Captain Kale called out. Shields at 30%, minor hull damage, no casualties, Dr. Lyra reported. The humans saved us. Elder Zara approached Ambassador Davis. Her crystal skin was glowing with warm light. Your people fought to protect ours without hesitation. This is not the way of most species in the galaxy. It's the human way, Ambassador Davis replied. We protect our friends. Then let us be more than friends, the elder said. Let us be allies. The Zephyrian people offer our technology and knowledge to help you fight the Kethvar. Together, we might achieve what neither species could do alone. Jake smiled. Now you're thinking like humans. Professor Wright was recording everything for the history books. This is incredible. We're witnessing the birth of the first interstellar alliance between equals. Dr. Linda Moore was already working with Dr. Lyra to exchange technical information. Their medical technology could save millions of human lives, and our military experience could help them defend themselves. Captain Harrison contacted them from the Peacekeeper. Ambassador, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human rescue fleets are successfully evacuating Zephyrian refugees from a dozen star systems. Operation Homecoming is working. Elder Zara's skin shifted to a beautiful silver color. For the first time in months, I have hope. Perhaps our people will survive after all. They will, Ambassador Davis promised. Humans never give up on their friends, and starting today, humans and Zephyrians are friends forever. As the two ships began their journey to the next evacuation point, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere, out there, the Kethvar Empire was planning its next move. But now, They would face not just scattered refugees, but the combined strength of two species working together. "The Kethavar have been bullying peaceful species for too long," he said, to Elder Zara. "Time they learned what happens when bullies meet humans." Captain Pete Johnson stood on the bridge of his destroyer, watching asteroid field scanners search for signs of life. His strike group Alpha had been hunting for Zephyrian refugees in the Vega system for 6 hours. The rocky debris made scanning difficult, but Jake Morrison had assured them that 3,000 survivors were hiding somewhere in this field. "Contact," announced his sensor officer. "I'm reading power signatures from inside asteroid V47. Looks like a hollowed-out space, big enough for ships." "Take us in slowly," Pete ordered. "We don't want to scare them." As his ship moved through the floating rocks, Pete thought about the mission briefing. 50,000 Zephyrian refugees scattered across 12 star systems. Some were hiding in asteroid fields like this one. Others were on abandoned planets or drifting in dark space with their engines shut down. All of them were terrified and running for their lives. "Captain, we're being scanned," his communications officer reported. "Someone's checking us out. Open a channel. Use the Zephyrian greeting protocol." Pete cleared his throat and spoke the words Jake had taught them. "Peaceful travelers, we are humans from Earth. We come as friends to offer sanctuary." The response came quickly in musical Zephyrian tones, followed by the translation. "Humans? Captain Morrison told us you might come. We are the survivors of the science vessel Bright Star, 3,000 souls seeking shelter. We're here to take you home," Pete said, "to Earth, where you'll be safe." What followed was the most amazing rescue operation Pete had ever seen. The Zephyrian ships emerged from the hollow asteroid like crystal butterflies. Their hulls glowed with soft light as they formed up around the human escorts. "My God," whispered his first officer. "They're beautiful." The Zephyrian captain contacted them directly. "I am Captain Nira Sevin of the Bright Star. We cannot thank you enough for this rescue. But why? Why do humans risk themselves for strangers?" Pete smiled. "Because you're not strangers anymore. Jake Morrison is our friend, and he says you're good people. That's enough for us." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out as human task forces reached refugee fleets throughout the Outer Rim. Each rescue mission brought its own challenges and dangers. Lieutenant Colonel Mary Clark led the evacuation of Kepler 442b, an abandoned mining world where 5,000 Zephyrians had been hiding in underground caves. The planet's surface was a frozen wasteland, but the Zephyrians had survived by using geothermal vents for power. "How long have you been here?" Mary asked the refugee leader as her troops helped load supplies onto transport ships. 4 months, replied Elder Tiva Moreland. Her crystal skin was pale from lack of proper light. "We thought we would die on this cold world. Then your ships appeared in our sky like stars of hope." Mary's soldiers worked alongside Zephyrian civilians, carrying children and elderly refugees to the waiting transports. The crystal-skinned aliens were amazed by human kindness. Several Zephyrian children had never seen other species before, and they stared in wonder at the human soldiers. "Your people are very gentle with our young ones," Elder Teva observed. "Children are precious," Mary replied, watching one of her sergeants carefully carry a small Zephyrian child who was too weak to walk. "It doesn't matter what species they are." But not all the rescue missions went smoothly. Captain Amy Rodriguez drew the most dangerous assignment, rescuing 5,000 Zephyrians trapped in the Arcturus system Deep inside Kethvar-controlled space. Amy's stealth squadron consisted of 6 ships equipped with experimental Zephyrian phasing technology. They could become invisible to most sensors, but only for short periods of time. "Remember," Amy told her pilots as they prepared to jump into enemy territory, "we go in fast, grab the refugees, and get out. No heroics. These people are counting on us." The Arcturus system was crawling with Kethvar patrol ships. Amy watched them through her sensors as her squadron phased into the system undetected. The enemy vessels were black and aggressive-looking, covered in weapon ports and sensor arrays. "Target located," her sensor officer whispered. "The refugee fleet is hiding behind the 4th planet's moon. 23 ships, minimal power signatures. Take us in. Maintain phase protocols." Amy's squadron slipped past 3 Kethvar patrols. Without being detected, the refugee ships were in bad condition, damaged from months of running and hiding. Many showed signs of weapon hits from previous encounters. "Zephyrian vessels, this is Captain Amy Rodriguez of Earth Defense Command. We're here to get you out." The response was immediate and filled with emotion. "Humans, thank the stars. We thought we would die here. This is Captain Vorn Helnix of the Refugee Fleet Morning Light." "Not today, Captain. We're going to escort you to safety. But we need to move fast." The evacuation began immediately. Amy's ships formed a protective screen around the refugee fleet as they began moving toward the system's edge. For a few minutes, it looked like they might escape undetected. Then, everything went wrong. "Contact!" Amy's sensor officer shouted. "Kethvar battlecruiser dropping out of hyperspace. They've found us!" The enemy ship was massive, 10 times larger than any vessel in Amy's squadron. Its weapons were already charging as it moved to intercept the fleeing refugees. "All ships, maintain escort formation," Amy ordered. "Do not break off to engage. Our job is to protect the civilians." The Kethvar cruiser opened fire with weapons that could vaporize a human destroyer in seconds. Amy's ships used their phasing technology to become partially invisible, making the enemy shots miss by inches. "Captain Rodriguez," came the voice of the Zephyrian refugee leader, "you must save yourselves. Do not die for us." "Nobody's dying today," Amy replied grimly. "Hold formation. We're getting everyone out." The battle lasted 20 minutes and tested every skill Amy had learned in 15 years of military service. Her ships darted between the massive Kethvar vessel and the refugee fleet, using their superior speed and maneuverability to stay alive. 2 of Amy's destroyers were badly damaged, but they kept fighting. The Zephyrian refugees watched in amazement as human ships sacrificed themselves to protect complete strangers. "Why do they fight so hard for us?" one young Zephyrian asked his captain. "Because," Captain Vorn replied, his crystal skin glowing. "With warm colors, they are humans, and humans do not abandon their friends. In the end, it was teamwork that saved them." The Zephyrian ships used their energy manipulation abilities to boost the power of Amy's weapons, while the human ships provided tactical coordination and military experience. Together, they managed to damage the Kethvar cruiser enough to force it to retreat. "All ships, report status," Amy called as they reached the edge of the system. 2 ships damaged but operational. No casualties. All refugee vessels accounted for. Her first officer paused. "Captain, the Zephyrians are asking how they can ever repay us." Amy looked at the beautiful crystal ships flying alongside her battered squadron. "Tell them that friends don't keep score." Back at Earth Defense Command, Admiral Lisa Grant was tracking rescue operations across the galaxy. The status board showed human task forces operating in dozens of star systems simultaneously. "Update on Operation Homecoming," she called to her staff. 47,000 refugees successfully evacuated, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez reported from her position. Only 3,000 still unaccounted for. Estimated completion in 72 hours. Casualties? Surprisingly light. We've lost 6 ships and 43 crew members. The Zephyrians have been using their healing technology to treat our wounded. We have soldiers walking around who should be dead. Lisa nodded. The Alliance was already paying dividends. Human courage combined with Zephyrian technology was proving to be incredibly effective. "Admiral," her intelligence officer called out, "we're receiving reports of massive Kethvar fleet movements. They're mobilizing everything they have. Intelligence estimates over 2,000 warships." Lisa felt a chill. Target? Earth, Admiral. "They're coming to end this before we can evacuate all the refugees." Lisa looked at the tactical display showing the locations of human rescue fleets. They were scattered across the galaxy, far from home and vulnerable. "How long until they reach Earth?" 6 days, Admiral." Lisa made a quick calculation. The rescue fleets could make it back to Earth in time, but barely. It was going to be close. "Send a message to all task force commanders. Operation Homecoming is now a race against time. Get those refugees to Earth and prepare for the fight of our lives." As orders went out across space, thousands of human and Zephyrian ships began the desperate journey home. They had saved an entire species from extinction. Now they had to prepare to defend their new alliance against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. General Thaxmore stood on the command bridge of his flagship, watching the holographic display that showed Kethvar territory. Red dots marked conquered worlds. Green dots showed fleets moving to crush resistance. But now there were new symbols. On the map, yellow dots showing human ships moving through space like a virus spreading through the galaxy. "Status report," he growled to his tactical officer. "The humans have rescued over 40,000 Zephyrian refugees from 12 star systems. Our patrol fleets have engaged them 17 times. The humans have won every battle." Thaxamore's forearms clenched into fists. The Kethvar general was massive, standing 8 feet tall with black armor that seemed to absorb light. His red eyes glowed with anger. How is this possible? The humans are a primitive species. They barely have faster-than-light travel. "General, intelligence reports suggest they are using Zephyrian technology combined with their own tactical systems. The combination is proving very effective." Thaxmore studied the tactical data. Human ships were fast and aggressive, attacking with coordination he had never seen before. Most species fought alone, every ship for itself, but humans moved like a single organism, supporting each other and working together. What do we know about this human homeworld? The planet they call Earth is located in a system with 1 star and 8 planets. Population approximately 12 billion. Their technology level is roughly equivalent to the Nariid Confederation before we conquered them. Then why are they winning? The tactical officer hesitated. "Sir, captured Zephyrian records suggest that humans have been fighting wars against each other for thousands of years. They understand strategy and tactics in ways that peaceful species do not." Thaxmore turned to face his officer. "Are you saying these humans are warriors?" "More than that, sir. Intelligence suggests they fight not just to win, but to protect others. This makes them very dangerous. They take risks that logical species would avoid." This was troubling news. The Kethvar Empire had conquered 47 star systems by following a simple strategy. Overwhelm peaceful species with superior firepower. Most civilizations surrendered quickly rather than face total destruction. Those that fought back were destroyed so completely that other species learned not to resist. But humans were different. They had mobilized their entire civilization to save strangers. They fought battles they couldn't win and took risks no logical species would take. Worst of all, they were inspiring other species to resist. "General," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving reports from the Outer Rim. 3 conquered worlds have declared independence and are asking for human protection." Thaxmore's anger flared. This was exactly what he had feared. The human rescue of the Zephyrians was being seen as proof that the Kethvar could be defeated. "Sir," another officer reported, "our spies on the Galactic Council Station report that several species are discussing military cooperation with the humans. The Council is considering recognizing Earth as a protector species." Unacceptable. Thaxmore moved to the Strategic Planning Station. "If we allow this human infestation to continue, it will spread throughout the galaxy. Other species will think they can resist us." "What are your orders, General?" Thaxmore activated the holographic display and pointed to a blue-green world at the edge of human space. "We will end this quickly and completely. Mobilize the conquest fleet. Every ship, every weapon. We will destroy the human homeworld and hunt down every refugee ship. When we are finished, the galaxy will remember what happens to those who oppose. The Kethvar Empire. Sir, that's over 2,000 warships. Isn't that excessive for one primitive planet?" "No," Thaxmore replied coldly. "It's a message. When Earth burns, every species in the galaxy will see what happens to those who help our enemies." The orders went out across Kethvar space. Battle fleets that had been conquering distant worlds turned toward Earth. Supply ships loaded with planet-killer weapons. The massive Planet Breaker itself, a ship the size of a small moon, began moving toward human space. On the bridge of the Planet Breaker, Captain Vestan reviewed the weapon specifications. The ship's main gun could crack a planet's crust and boil its oceans. It had been used 7 times in Kethvar history, always to make an example of species that refused to surrender. "How long until we reach the human system?" he asked his navigator. 5 days at maximum speed, Captain. The conquest fleet will arrive at the same time." "Good. We will broadcast the destruction of Earth throughout the galaxy. Every species will see what happens when they choose to fight instead of surrender." But aboard the refugee ship Last Hope, now traveling with the human evacuation fleet toward Earth, Jake Morrison was working with Elder Zara and Admiral Grant's tactical staff to prepare Earth's defenses. "The Kethvar will come with everything they have," Jake explained to the holographic image of Admiral Grant. "They can't allow the rescue to succeed. It would encourage other species to resist." "How many ships are we talking about, Admiral?" Grant asked. Elder Zara's crystal skin turned a dark blue as she consulted Zephyrian intelligence records. "Our estimates suggest at least 2,000 warships. They may also bring the Planet Breaker." "What's a Planet Breaker?" "A ship designed to destroy entire worlds. We have seen them use it before. No planet has ever survived its main weapon." Jake saw the worry in Admiral Grant's eyes, even over the communication link. "Admiral, how many ships does Earth have for defense?" 800 combat vessels, plus orbital defense platforms and ground-based weapons. We're outnumbered more than 2 to 1. "Then we need to be smarter than them," Jake said. "Humans have always won by thinking differently than their enemies." Dr. Lyra Velneth joined the conversation. "Captain Morrison, our people have technology that could help. Our energy manipulation systems could enhance your weapons. Our phasing technology could make your ships harder to target." "What are you suggesting?" Admiral Grant asked. "A full integration of human and Zephyrian forces," Jake replied. Mixed crews on every ship. Human tactical experience with Zephyrian. Technology. Elder Zara's skin brightened to a golden color. The Council of Survivors approves this plan. We owe you our lives. Now we fight together to defend our new home. Admiral Grant was quiet for a moment, considering the implications. This has never been attempted before. Two different species operating ships together in combat. Admiral, Jake said. Humans and Zephyrians have been working together for weeks during the rescue operations. The crews already trust each other. This is just the next step. Very well. Begin immediate integration protocols. We have 5 days to prepare for the largest battle in human history. As the evacuation fleet raced toward Earth, thousands of human and Zephyrian technicians worked together to modify ships and weapons. Zephyrian engineers showed humans how to enhance energy output. Human tacticians taught Zephyrians about combat formations and strategy. Captain Sam Bennett of the massive carrier New Horizon was amazed by what they accomplished in just a few days. Admiral, these modifications are incredible. Our weapons are 30% more powerful. Our shields can phase in and out of visibility. I've never seen anything like it. How are the mixed crews working out? Admiral Grant asked. Better than I hoped. The Zephyrians learn fast and they're completely dedicated to defending Earth. They see it as their new homeworld already. On the last day before the Kethavar fleet arrived, Jake stood in the observation deck of the Last Hope, looking at Earth growing larger in the windows. The blue-green planet was surrounded by hundreds of ships, both human and Zephyrian, preparing for battle. It's beautiful, Dr. Lyra said as she joined him. No wonder you call it home. It's your home too now, Jake replied. All of you. And we're going to defend it together. Captain Morrison, Elder Zara approached them, her crystal skin glowing with determination. Sensors detect the Kethavar fleet approaching the edge of the solar system. 2,047 warships, including the Planet Breaker. Jake felt his heart racing, but he also felt something else, confidence. Humans and Zephyrians had accomplished the impossible already. They had rescued an entire species and formed an alliance between worlds. Then let's show them what happens when bullies pick on the wrong planet, he said. Signal all ships. This is it. As the largest space battle in galactic history began, Jake thought about the journey that had brought them here. It started with one human being rescued by strangers. Now 2 civilizations stood together, ready to fight for their right to exist. The Kethavar Empire was about to learn something new about the galaxy. Some species wouldn't just roll over and surrender. Some species fought back. And some species had friends who would die to protect them. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Proxima Centauri. Jake Morrison stood in his office in the new Interspecies Relations building in Geneva, looking out at a city that had been transformed. Crystal spires rose alongside steel skyscrapers, their surfaces changing color with the weather. Zephyrian light gardens glowed softly in the parks where human children played with young Zephyrians. Captain Morrison, his assistant called from the doorway. Ambassador Davis is here for the morning briefing. Jake smiled at being called captain. Officially, he was now Director Morrison of the Interspecies Relations Office. But his friends still used his old rank. He didn't mind. Ambassador Roy Davis entered, carrying a data pad filled with reports from across the galaxy. The diplomat looked tired but happy. Managing relationships with dozens of alien species was challenging work, but it was the most important job in human history. Morning, Jake. How are Lyra and the kids? Good. The twins are starting school next week. First human Zephyrian children to attend regular classes. Jake and Dr. Lyra Velneth had married 3 years ago in a ceremony that combined traditions from both species. Their twin children were something new in the galaxy, the first generation to grow up truly believing that differences between species were normal and good. "How's the integration program going?" Roy asked as they walked toward the conference room. "Better than anyone expected. We've settled 48,000 Zephyrians across Earth and the human colonies. There have been almost no problems. Turns out when you save someone's life, they're pretty grateful." They entered the conference room where the morning staff meeting was already beginning. The team included humans, Zephyrians, and representatives from 6 other species that had joined the Free Species Alliance. Captain Kate Harrison, now commanding. The first fully integrated Starship crew appeared on the main screen via quantum communication. Her ship, the New Unity, was exploring the far rim of the galaxy, making contact with species that had never seen the core worlds. "Report from Sector 7, Kate said. "We've made contact with the Crystalline Collective. They're interested in joining the Alliance. Apparently, word of our stand against the Kethvar has spread farther than we thought." "How many species is that now?" asked Dr. Linda Moore, who had become Earth's expert on alien cultures. 37 full members, 42 associate members, Roy replied. "The Alliance is growing faster than we can keep up with." Jake looked at the galaxy map on the conference room wall. Green lights marked Alliance worlds. Yellow showed species considering membership. Red indicated Kethvar territory, which had stopped expanding for the first time in centuries. "Any new reports from Kethvar space?" he asked. "Intelligence suggests their empire is struggling," said General Nick Sullivan, who had become the Alliance's military coordinator. 3 conquered worlds have declared independence in the past month. The Kethvar fleet is spread too thin to stop all the rebellions. This was the most surprising result of the Battle of Proxima. The Kethvar Empire had ruled through fear, making other species believe resistance was impossible. But when humans and Zephyrians proved the Empire could be defeated, conquered worlds everywhere began fighting back. "Sir," interrupted a young communication officer, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Zephyrian Council." Elder Zara Velthani appeared on the screen. Now in her 80s, she had become the grandmother of the integrated community. Her crystal skin was white with age, but her eyes still sparkled with intelligence. "Good morning, my friends. I have wonderful news. The first Zephyrian-human hybrid children born on Earth have just begun showing signs of inherited abilities. Young Alex Morrison Velneth can already manipulate energy at the molecular level." Jake felt a mixture of pride and worry. His 5-year-old son was showing Zephyrian powers that no human had ever possessed. "Is he in any danger?" Jake asked. "Quite. The opposite. The healing abilities seem to be stronger in the hybrid children. They may represent the next step in evolution for both our species." After the meeting ended, Jake walked through the halls of the building toward the Medical Research Center. Dr. Alex Parker, now leading the Joint Human-Zephyrian Research Council, was studying the long-term effects of the species integration. "Alex, what do you think about these hybrid abilities?" "Fascinating," Dr. Parker replied, looking up from his microscope. "The children seem to have inherited the best traits from both species, human curiosity and determination combined with Zephyrian empathy and healing abilities." "Are there any risks?" "None that we can detect. If anything, they're healthier than pure human or pure Zephyrian children. The genetic combination seems to be naturally stable." Jake left the research center and walked to his favorite place in the building, the Memorial Garden. Here, a crystal monument listed the names of everyone who had died during the evacuation and the Battle of Proxima. Human and Zephyrian names were carved together, honoring the sacrifice that had made their alliance possible. He found Dr. Lyra there, as he often did. She was placing fresh flowers at the base of the monument. Their children, Alex and Luna, were playing nearby with a group of young Zephyrians and humans. "Remembering old friends?" Jake asked as he joined her. "Always. Captain Amy Rodriguez, Captain Sam Bennett, so many others. They died so that—" The space around Proxima Centauri filled with ships as the largest battle in galactic history began. Admiral Lisa Grant watched from the command center of Earth Defense Station as over 3,000 vessels maneuvered for position. The human Zephyrian Alliance fleet numbered 800 ships. The Kethvar Conquest fleet brought over 2,000 warships and the massive Planet Breaker. "All ships. This is Admiral Grant," she broadcast to the combined fleet. "Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the right of all free species to exist. Show them what happens when bullies pick the wrong fight." Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new command, the Unity. The ship was a perfect example of human-Zephyrian cooperation. Human tactical systems combined with Zephyrian energy manipulation technology. His crew included both species working together as one team. "Captain," called his tactical officer, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, "Kethvar fleet is moving into attack formation. They're spreading out to surround us." "Let them come," Jake replied. "Dr. Lyra, are the enhancement systems ready?" Dr. Lyra Velneth, now serving as the Unity's chief engineer, checked her crystal control panel. "All energy systems enhanced. Weapons at 150% normal power. Shields can phase between visible and invisible states." "Good. Amy, signal the fleet. Execute Pattern Morrison." Pattern Morrison was a battle strategy Jake had developed during the rescue missions. Instead of fighting like traditional space battles, human and Zephyrian ships would work in small groups, using speed and surprise to hit the enemy where they were weakest. The first wave of Kethvar ships came in expecting a traditional battle line. Instead, they faced something they had never seen before. Human Zephyrian teams phased in and out of visibility, striking hard and fast before disappearing again. Captain Pete Johnson led Strike Group Alpha against the Kethvar left flank. His destroyer worked with 3 Zephyrian light cruisers, their combined firepower destroying 2 enemy ships in seconds. "This is incredible," Pete reported. "The Zephyrian energy weapons are cutting through their armor like paper. But the Kethvar fleet was massive, and they quickly adapted their tactics. General Thaxmore ordered his ships to fire in all directions, hoping to hit the phasing human ships by luck." "Admiral," reported Captain Sam Bennett from the carrier New Horizon, "enemy fire is getting too heavy. We're taking losses." Lisa Grant watched the tactical display as red lights showed damaged Allied ships. The Kethvar strategy was simple but effective. Use overwhelming firepower to break up the human coordination. "All ships, fall back to defensive positions around Earth," she ordered. "Draw them into the orbital defense grid." As the battle moved toward Earth's solar system, the Planet Breaker finally joined the fight. The massive ship was the size of a small moon, covered in weapon systems that could destroy entire fleets. Its main weapon began charging with energy that could crack a planet's surface. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Grant contacted Jake directly, "that Planet Breaker is targeting Earth. If that weapon fires, it's over." Jake looked at the massive enemy ship on his display. It was surrounded by hundreds of escort vessels and protected by the most advanced shields in the galaxy. "Admiral, I'm taking a strike team directly at the Planet Breaker. If we can get inside their defenses, maybe we can stop that weapon from firing." "Jake, that's suicide. You'll never get through there. Escorts! Maybe not, but we have to try. Jake turned to his crew. Half were human, half were Zephyrian. All of them had become his friends during the evacuation missions. Attention, Unity crew. We're going to attempt something that's probably impossible. We're going to fly directly into the most heavily defended ship in the galaxy and try to destroy it from the inside. Anyone who wants to transfer to another ship has 60 seconds. Nobody moved. Human and Zephyrian crew members stood together, ready to follow their captain into almost certain death. Well then, Jake said with a smile, let's go save the world. The Unity began its attack run along with 12 other volunteer ships. Captain Amy Rodriguez in her destroyer led the left flank. Captain Kate Harrison brought her diplomatic ship, now armed for war. Zephyrian Captain Cale Mordoon commanded 3 crystal ships filled with volunteers. The Planet Breaker's escort ships opened fire immediately. The space around the massive vessel filled with deadly energy beams and explosive missiles. 2 Allied ships were destroyed in the first minute of the attack. Shields down to 40%, reported Dr. Lyra, but the energy enhancement is holding. Amy, take your group and draw off those escort destroyers, Jake ordered. Kate, your team hit their shield generators. Cale, we're going for the main weapon. The battle around the Planet Breaker became a desperate race against time. The massive ship's main weapon continued charging while Allied ships threw themselves against its defenses. Captain Amy Rodriguez pushed her destroyer to maximum speed, leading 5 Kethvar escort ships away from the Planet Breaker. Her ship was faster, but the enemy vessels had more firepower. "This is Rodriguez to all ships," she broadcast. "If this is my last fight, it's been an honor serving with all of you." Her destroyer turned and charged directly at the nearest Kethvar ship. At the last second, she ejected the ship's energy core, turning her vessel into a massive bomb. The explosion destroyed 3 enemy ships and opened a gap in their defenses. Captain Kate Harrison's diplomatic team managed to overload 2 of the Planet Breaker's shield generators before her ship was destroyed. The massive vessel's defenses were weakening, but not fast enough. "Main weapon at 90% charge," Dr. Lyra reported grimly. "Target locked on Earth." "Then it's up to us," Jake said. The Unity was the only Allied ship left near the Planet Breaker. "Lyra, can you phase us through their remaining shields?" "Yes, but only for a few seconds. And we'll be inside with no way out." Jake looked around at his mixed crew of humans and Zephyrians. These people had become his family. They had saved each other's lives multiple times during the evacuation missions. "Take us in." The Unity phased through the Planet Breaker's shields and materialized inside the massive ship's docking bay. Kethvar security forces were already rushing toward them. "Amy, take half the crew and secure the docking bay. Lyra, you're with me. We're going for the main weapon." Jake and Dr. Lyra raced through the corridors of the enemy ship, fighting their way toward the weapon control center. Behind them, their crew fought a desperate battle to keep the docking bay secure. The Planet Breaker's weapon control room was massive, filled with energy conduits that fed power to the planet-killing gun. Jake and Lyra worked frantically to set explosive charges, while Kethvar soldiers tried to stop them. "Jake," Lyra said as she worked, "the weapon is at 98% charge. We're out of time." "Then we do this the hard way." Jake pulled out his sidearm and shot several key control panels. Sparks flew as the Planet Breaker's weapon systems began overloading. "Warning," came the ship's computer voice. "Main weapon overload detected. Core breach in 30 seconds. Can you get us out? Jake asked. The ship is too damaged. The phasing. Systems won't work inside all this energy. Lyra's crystal skin was glowing with urgent colors. Jake, I can get the crew out, but someone has to stay to make sure the weapon destroys itself. Go, get everyone to safety. I'm not leaving you. That's an order, Doctor. Lyra looked at him for a moment, then did something Jake didn't expect. She placed her crystal hands on his chest and transferred some of her life energy into him. What are you doing? Giving you a chance to survive. Our healing energy can protect you from the explosion, but only if someone channels it into you. She was already moving toward the door. See you on the other side, Captain. The Unity crew barely escaped before the Planet Breaker's main weapon, overloaded. The explosion was visible from Earth as the massive ship tore itself apart. The blast wave destroyed dozens of Kethvar escort ships and sent shock waves through the entire enemy fleet. General Thaxmore watched in disbelief as his ultimate weapon was destroyed. How is this possible? No species has ever penetrated the Planet Breaker's defenses. Sir, his tactical officer reported. The human ships are regrouping. They're preparing for another attack. But the destruction of the Planet Breaker had broken more than just Kethvar firepower. It had broken their confidence. For the first time in their history, the Empire had met an enemy that refused to surrender and was willing to die to protect others. General, came reports from across the fleet. Multiple ships are requesting permission to withdraw. Morale is collapsing. Thaxmore looked at the tactical display. His fleet still outnumbered the humans, but the enemy was fighting with a courage and determination he had never encountered. Every human ship seemed willing to sacrifice itself to protect the others. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Admiral Grant's voice filled the Kethvar command bridge. General Thaxmore, this is Admiral Lisa Grant of Earth. Defense Command, you have seen what happens when you threaten innocent people. Your Planet Breaker is destroyed. Your fleet is demoralized. Withdraw now, and we will let you leave in peace. Thaxmore was about to order his fleet to continue the attack when another report came in. General, long-range sensors detect human. Reinforcements arriving. 50 ships from the Centauri colonies, 30 from the Mars Defense Fleet.